Good afternoon, and welcome back to St. Vincent College in Latrobe, Pennsylvania, and welcome to the wrap-up show brought to you by the UPMC Health Plan. Mike Prisuta along with Craig Wolfley here to wrap up day number 19 on campus here at St. Vincent. Practice has just concluded with a couple of 2-minute drills, but we want to lead off today by taking it down to the playing surface here at St. Vincent. Damontae, thanks for joining us. Welcome back, not just to the show, but welcome back to practice. How much did you enjoy that, given that you missed a minute or two?
I enjoyed it all, man. I'm just so happy to be back on the field, with my brothers out there fighting. So it was lovely to be back.
Damontae, I got to ask you the question I asked you before. Like I said, you seem to have that knack of the ball finding you or you finding the ball. It's a great thing for a safety to have. Is that something you've always had, but it just certainly seems to be something that happens when you're around in a black and gold jersey?
That's what I always had, man. From high school to college, having a record into the NFL. So, I've always been a ball hawk type guy.
Damontae, we mentioned you returned. I think I also saw Keanu Neal in the 2-minute stuff at the end of practice. Minka Fitzpatrick came back a while ago. Some of you guys have missed some time, particularly at the safety position, but it looks like things are starting to fall back into place. Does it feel like you guys are getting healthy again with plenty of time before that opener against the 49ers?
Yeah, I think everybody's back healthy, man. And at the end of the day, it's not up to us to get back on the football field so early. Coaches were involved in this, telling some people they can't practice and stuff. So we got to do what's been told, and, we all are back out there working with each other. So we're going to enjoy it.
Damontae, how's the communication aspect going? Because one of the most important things from the back end is being able to communicate forward and backwards and so forth. One of them, I was down there by, was it Minka? When Minka was yelling at, he had Levi Wallace to one side, Mark Robinson, he was saying, okay, don't tell me what you're doing, tell each other. And the importance of communicating and making sure others around you are communicating, how big is that?
It's big. The most shadiest defense be the best defense. So being out there talking to each other, running full speed, and it tells you your job if you're talking. So,
Damontae, some of us had a chance to talk with Matt Canada, the offensive coordinator, today before practice, and he mentioned, as a lot of the offensive players have, the quality of looks they're getting going against the Steelers' defense in practice out here. Turn that around for me, if you would. What are you guys seeing from the Steelers' offense, and what's getting your attention?
What's getting my attention is how the offense is moving this ball now. They're spacing it out. They're playing catch out there. GP making good plays. Tate making good plays. So I think it's a runs after catches for me. So they're very explosive.
And Damontae, talk about, if you would, your views on Darnell Mount Washington, as the great late Myron Cope would have called him, because he is such a huge and unique animal out there. What's it like from your perspective?
Nah, he's in the locker room with me. We share lockers. I'm always getting on him every day. I don't care how big he is. I'm still older, so.
Right.
So, but having him out there, run, pass, block, and everything, he's very good. And doing jump balls with him, he should win those every time.
Yeah, there was a play today, not to Darnell Washington, but to GP. You mentioned him a second ago, George Pickens. And it looked like you did everything but break it up. I mean, you had the coverage, you're diving around him, you're reaching, and somehow he held on to the ball. Where do you see his development from last year to this year?
It ain't no difference. He's been a freak since I met him, so he's been doing that since day one. So ain't nothing wrong with him. But, on that play, too, I thought I had a broke-up pass. But he had two hands on it, only had one.
Damontae, last thing we got for you. The defense won 7 shots, 4-3. But the offense got it into the end zone a couple of times on the 2-minute tries. Who's getting the steaks and lobsters tonight, and who's settling for hot dogs?
Now, personally, we all going to get steak today because it wasn't a competition today.
Oh, okay.
The truth is told.
Well, hey, we really appreciate you taking a few minutes. Again, welcome back, and we'll look forward to talking to you again soon.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Damontae.
Yeah, well, if it looked like they're starting to get that secondary cobbled back together. Now, Joey Porter Jr., who missed the preseason opener Friday night, he was in the pads for the start of things today, the early warm-up and the positional stuff, but I did not see him in any 11-on-11 work. But at the end there, the first 2-minute drill, the dime had Damontae Kazee, it had Keanu Neal, Minka Fitzpatrick, Patrick Peterson, Levi Wallace, And James Pierre got some run with Joey Porter still
Not a bad group.
not employed yet. So, yeah.
Did you see James Pierre's interception along the sidelines today?
James,
that was a thing of beauty.
You know, he was getting his hands on the ball. He not only had that interception, but a couple snaps later, there was a deflection off of Gunnar Olszewski's hands. And I thought Pierre was going to have the tip pick.
Almost, you think.
Couldn't finish that play. And then in 7-on-7, he gave up a catch to Des Fitzpatrick, but came around with the hammer and knocked the ball out. I guess if you're a DB and you're on the bubble, one way to get off the bubble is to keep getting your hands on that ball consistently.
There's no question about it. And iron sharpens iron. The sword needs to be sharpened daily in that combative atmosphere that Mike and the coaches have established here. It's great because it pushes each other to work as hard as you can. And you see guys like Damontae and James Pierre, they are working very hard.
Of course, it's not all about who gets their hand on the ball and who doesn't. While I'm watching things such as 7-on-7, you're watching the one-on-one O-line drills. What did you see attention getting there today?
Oh, man, I'm telling you, you want to talk. First thing you got to love is when Coach Mike comes down. He starts poking the bear, stoking the fire, whatever metaphor you want to use. But 7-7 and 5-1 were going at it, and they had some great contests, and it was terrific to watch. And the thing about it is, each guy came back, and it seemed to, when one would win, the other guy'd come back and get a win. Then the other guy'd come back. And they just kind of went back and forth. But what I saw was technique being applied. It wasn't one of those situations where sometimes you get in this ego match. And then now it's about, I got to beat you some way, somehow. And I don't care if I got to tackle you and bring you down. Because, you're in there in front of your peers. You got the whole hillside of people are they're razzing and jumping in on it. You've got the coaches around, and all this stuff's going on. Now,
maybe some of the other players say the thing.
Absolutely. They're all, they're giving you the business. And so you got to maintain your calm and cool and go up there and collectively be able to bring your mental set so that you stick to your technique. And that's one of the greatest things that if you can beat them in that one-on-one, you can beat them out in the stadium. I mean, that's just the way it is. Because the intensity is so ratcheted up there in that one-on-one thing. So we saw Broderick do a good job. We saw Nick Herbig do a good job. And by the way, how does a guy like Nick Herbig somehow talk his way onto the field of play the other night? I thought he was just going to play special teams. He got himself in there and then delivered with a sack and a half. And I'm telling you what, he really looked good.
Well, Badgers don't just play special teams. Come on.
Oh, here we go. Cheeseheads. No, but he was very good. You know what?
They bring the lunch pail, Wolf. They're not part-time workers.
No, you're exactly correct. We saw that one right there. That sack, he transferred a situation where the back came up to try to chip him, and rather than taking the full – he takes the inside track and beats the tackle on a sack and is able to come inside and get him when a lot of guys would have just stopped, tried to deal with the chip guy. He just added the chip momentum to where he needed to go and beat the pants off his man.
Similar play on a running play, if I'm remembering correctly. He used that same inside move and kind of got it from the backside. You don't think
he's going to knife his way through there?
You don't think he got a tip or two on that, maybe from number 90?
I got a feeling that the brotherhood of the Cheeseheads are pretty tight there.
Without question. Let's stick with the game since we got there. Broderick Jones played a lot of snaps.
49 snaps, to my understanding.
How'd he do?
I thought he did very well. He got a sack. You're going to, as Mike Webster once said, you're going to have that on big jobs like this. The guy got his hands. He got called for holding. Next time, hold better, then you won't give up the sack.
Same play, yeah. But to his credit, he tracked down the fumble that the sack produced.
There you go.
If you're going to give up a sack and let the guy knock the ball out, you better get it, right?
That's lesson number one. Get that ball. And he passed that. But back to everything else. He was able to take guys off the line of scrimmage. He was able to capture the edge setter. He punched well at times. At other times, he got a little bit of the swooping and kind of gave away his chest. These are things that are going to iron out. He's a young guy. He's a young stud. But the battle is on, and I like what I see so far.
Yeah, some of us spoke with Matt Canada late this morning, and he mentioned a number of snaps that Jones played, and that was, of course, by design. They wanted him in there working. And, for a preseason opener, Mike Tomlin had talked about wanting to see these guys that haven't done this before, not just their process of how they show up and get off the bus and prepare and warm up, but that was a lot of snaps in weather, very hot. All the pressures of your professional debut and the emotions associated with that. He worked through a lot of stuff
Absolutely.
Friday night.
And what Mike always talks about, heat reveals you and your desire to yourself. Because that heat, and it's subversive. I mean, you're talking over
Usually reveals
degrees.
my desire to go get a beverage, but maybe that says something about me.
Yeah, exactly so. That's why we are where we are on this side of it, right? But the fact of the matter is, it does reveal your desire, your intensity, and your ability to maintain your focus in the midst of temperatures that were over 100 degrees at kickoff. And it can get a little discombobulating when you're out there and you've got, pass rushers, NFL-style pass rushers coming at you and everything. You've got to maintain your form, your technique, and despite the fact that you give up a sack, a strip sack, you get the ball back, what have you, came back and he battled. That's what I like. You come back and you battle on the next play.
He also,
series.
I talked to him briefly after the game, and he said, he enjoyed it. He was looking forward to it. He welcomed the workload. He said that I asked him how much tight end help he got, and he said, we really don't have a lot of that. The Steelers don't have much tight end help, so I'm assuming he was pretty much him against his guy.
Yeah, he's got the difference. I think for him was he had a number of guards next to him, different guys. You had everybody from Spencer
Anderson.
And thank you very much. Just old man blanket there. Spencer Anderson, and of course you had Somalo, and you had Dotson was there too. So there's a lot of conflict and communication amongst three different guards, and then playing the guy is a tackle. He's out there with three different guards. So just being able to work that sort of pass protection, run blocking thing, it's difficult because you got three different ways, three different guys that are just a little bit different. But you know what? Again, he held it together, had good technique, his kick step, his punch. He's got to do a little bit better with his punch radius, but there's always things to work on. You're never going to be satisfied.
What is it, like a bigger bowl punch radius? Or
well, the punch radius is where you connect when the guy's out from you.
So
if you
different
can punch,
from punch bowl.
Yeah, different than punch bowl. Yes, no doubt about it.
You mentioned the strip sack and the holding penalty and the fumbles. That's where offensive linemen normally get noticed, right, when they mess something up. I saw your guy Spencer Anderson today got called for a false start while he was playing left guard. But I'm going to give you a notice of offensive linemen doing something that really impressed me. There was a screen pass in pass under pressure, and it went to Jalen Warren, and it went a long way down the field. And one of the reasons it did was because Kendrick Green and William Dunkel were leading it. They were running ahead of the back, and they got so far down the field, your guy Dunkel took him a while to get back to the huddle.
All I can say is if you ever
hustle
watch,
play is the point I'm trying to make.
Yes, if you ever saw the movie Tarzan, when the rhinos and the elephants were leading the charge, that's kind of what it looked like on the screen. I was standing next to Dwayne Woodruff, the great Steelers cornerback, on the sidelines. He saw that screen. He saw the Dunkelator out there in front. He saw the big green machine out there in front. That's over 700 pounds of beef on the hoof, and I could feel him getting tight. And I said, "Easy, Wood. You're okay. We're out of bounds here. You don't have to take on the screen."
Well, it was a great example. It was late in practice, and the work.
The work ethic is what's important.
It seems down to down and period to period, it's been pretty consistent.
And I will tell you this: Kendrick Green had three of the best one-on-ones I've ever seen him have. And I know he had a tough go a little bit the other night down in Tampa Bay, but you got to get back on the horse and ride, man. There's no time to sit back and lick your wounds. And he really, really looked at it and I said, that's what he's capable of every time. Now he's got to do it. You got to show it.
That's going to do it for us today. A reminder that tomorrow is an off day up here at St. Vincent College, but we'll be back with training camp live and then the wrap-up show once again on Tuesday. Steelers out here practicing Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, and then they call it a camp for St. Vincent College 2023. For Craig Wolfley, I'm Mike Prisuta. Thanks for finding us. This has been the wrap-up show brought to you by the UPMC Health Plan.